So yeah, ReIGN.Artist. He's our resident South Korean player for Team ReIGN. He is the green one up here on the top spawn of Shattered Temple. Over on the right side of the map, we have the guy who's currently 3-0 in this clan war. It is SlayerS Clyde.
Indeedy do. We are close positions by air, and Artist is a very, very aggressive player, but he's normally not brought in TVT situations. At the moment, he is... I'd say probably one of the best TVZ players in the world. He is very, very good at TVP, but his TVT has shown a lot of weaknesses, and so this is not usually the situation you see him in, but it's kind of a situation of, well, we've got two world-class Korean players on our team. We want to use them, and Inori is really, really usually called in some sort of a Protoss snipe circumstance. Most of the time, he's a PvP specialist. So, as it is now, we are going to have Artist. He usually has trouble deflecting lots of pressure, even though he is a very aggressive player himself. So I would expect him to try and win this game pretty early.
Yeah, you mentioned his TVZ. It seems like 11-11 is his favorite build, but you can get away with it every time, even if they know it's coming, if you have the proper control, which Artist does. But 11-11 doesn't quite work so well against Terran, who can also go 11-11.
Exactly. Add into that, though, that you mentioned his control. He does usually have, while he does do Marine tank builds against Zerg players a lot, he has a very, very nasty bio-timing based build, which hits in the early part of the game, which is really, really fun to watch. So, looks like Clyde actually decided to go not just barracks first, but a gasless fast expand, more than likely here in a bit, whereas Artist did decide to throw up gas before barracks, and Clyde's going to get a pretty good read on that here in a second, as he will be able to see this barracks before it's done constructing and know exactly what is up.
I remember a time where TVT people just didn't wall off at all because you actually had your supply depots and barracks prone from the low ground anytime a medevac showed up. So actually a little surprised to see both of these guys doing it now. I guess lately they've decided that denying scouting information, denying Marines, and just easy access is better than eventually having to lose them later against siege tanks and just ground forces with Marines or medevacs or Reapers doing the spotting for them.
Ooh, and Clyde's going to get a read on second gas here as well. So, but no, you're exactly right. I mean, I remember in most casts always saying, oh, you don't usually wall off in TVT because of your supplies depots go down in the middle of a fight, especially because it's usually early game. You haven't built a lot extra. It's super critical if you get supply blocked in the middle of a big fight. Clyde's going to need to lower that supply depot. There we go. And he is expanding out of this, but threw up his gas pretty quickly. Maybe a little earlier than he wanted. Thought he was going to go straight into double gas. Wait on that a little bit after he had produced a couple of units. But Artist does have his bunker coming up, his factory finish, and 150-100 ready for a starport.
I noticed that he skipped the add-on completely for his barracks, so it could kind of figure that he would be going for the fastest possible starport, and then using the add-on sort of as a secondary cost there. Starport is going to be added onto the tech lab very quickly. Banshee's basically 100% going to be showing up here because he skipped so much in the early game. I have seen Artists actually build Raven first in this matchup because PDD can actually just make your opponent like smash their keyboard. Like it's
it's pretty disgusting.
And then they run in with all their forces. They see PDDs on the field and they just think, why didn't I do that? Like,
yes,
it's so frustrating. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Banshee just because Cloak. It's so extremely fast. Yeah, there's Cloak going up, and I mean he skipped Tech Lab on your barracks. Like he can't even do anything but make a Marine at a time without an add-on there.
But he does have the bunker up at the front. He knew that his opponent was playing pretty passively at the beginning of the game. But Clyde's on top of this. He does have an engineering bay coming down. It looks like if he uses a mule with this 50 energy, I would actually be a little bit shocked. Because it looks like he's going to have some detection in a bit.
Yeah, detection is nice to have against Cloak Banshees.
Could be.
Hellions also coming out for Artists. You have a factory, you might as well build it. This actually reminds me of a 4v4 build that I used to do, just Marine, Hellion, Banshee. I mean, the Banshees do the spotting for the Hellions on low ground, and you can torch mineral lines on most 4v4 maps, but that's neither here nor there.
But it's still a common TVT build, though. It's quite a bit. And we have a Viking coming in, we have a missile turret, we have energy being banked. This is going to be difficult for Artists to continue to do damage right away. More than likely, this is eventually just going to become a Banshee that's used Because cloaked Banshees still have their uses even after they're countered in this way with the early missile turret and energy and stuff like that. That Banshee's going to have to get out of there right now. Cloaks gets away. And it's running away. Just being able to be used for their DPS in the middle of armies when they're not being targeted because they're being cloaked the whole time is actually really cool.
Remember back in the days of Scrap Station, Iakoic
build.
He claimed to have authored a build kind of like that, where basically just slam out units and it doesn't matter because you can replace them so fast that anything you lose doesn't really matter that much. But that, again, that was back in the days of Scrap Station. Maps have evolved quite a bit. Playstyles have evolved quite a bit. This is a little bit of a variation on that. I see a Raven being built now for Clyde, so maybe PDDs will eventually make Artist yell in frustration, but Artist actually staying ahead in supply throughout all of this. He has not lost his Banshee yet. He has picked up 4 kills with it. If Clyde wants to kill it, he's going to have to outlast this Cloak. It looks like he does. Yeah, he does want to go ahead and secure that Banshee kill, keep that from coming back ever. But there is no second Banshee as far as I'm aware. Artist has to be content with what he's done. Now a second one has just popped out.
Yes, and he did lose the one down at the bottom right-hand corner. It looks like he's going to move out and make an attack here in a bit, or a defensive position. Let's see if he saves up that 400 here and decides to drop down an expansion. No, putting those into more units. More units!
Who needs expansions when the other guy's dead? You can, you know, after you kill the other guy on the map and you keep playing, you can expand everywhere.
That's true.
You can
could
expand wherever
actually
you
take
want.
Every base.
Yeah, you could build command centers in the middle of the map. Doesn't even matter.
Artist still, every once in a while, feels like a blast from the past for me when people were like, expansions? Pah! We don't need those in StarCraft 2.
LOL.
Yes.
Dude, expanding's too risky. You can't expand. You'll be killed by Marines. And, you know, you actually would be killed by Marines back in those days because reactors cost nothing and Marines built in 6 seconds and gateways were invincible and, you know, you'd just die a lot if you tried to expand. But now game's a little bit more balanced than it used to be.
These SCVs are just dying to repair this Banshee.
They want it so bad.
But they can't catch up to it quite yet. They'll get there in just a second, though, as it looks like Artist is just going to make an attack. There's the PDDs you were talking about beforehand. This Banshee is getting repaired up, as a matter of fact. Viking taking control of the skies right now for Artist, and he does destroy the Viking out for Clyde, so all of a sudden finds himself in a very, very nice spot with these siege tanks.
Clyde is supply block. What did we just say, Clyde? He also doesn't have siege tech finished yet, so Artist gets free shots on this natural.
This does feel like an old game with TVT, though, you know? I mean, this feels like, and we're not talking like, 2 months ago. No, we're talking like beta, shortly after beta is what this game feels like. And the siege tank is going to go down here in just a second. Scans going down for both players. Those siege tanks are pushed back, and Clyde down to just 50 supply, and a lot of that is in workers at the moment. He only has a Banshee and a tank on the ground.
Clyde is really reaching now. He's trying to build up some Marines and tanks, but honestly, once you're this far behind, he's never going to have more than 1 tank out. He's just going to get picked off by the Banshee. He's never going to get more than 2 or 3 Marines out on the field just because of the crazy amount of tanks and Marines for Artists. So this is eventually going to be a stranglehold, and there's the GG from SlayerS Clyde. So ReIGN taking a game in this series is not going to go down without a fight.
And Artist has taken that game back. We're going to head into game number 5 here in just a second with ReIGN still down 3-1.
是上将。